As you may have guessed in the introduction to the speed editor, the speed editor can do a lot more than we looked at it. So we're going to look at a few more things that it does. It's got some pretty cool tricks up its sleeve. So same project here. And this time I want to look at audio. So these where the tools are coming in here. I think those are a little bit loud. I've turned the volume down for the recording so it doesn't blow your ears out, but they are still loud, especially compared to the voice, which is I am not a coming out. So on top of the track here, if I hit audio level and hold it, the search dial then becomes a volume control. I can turn that down to -6. All right, we'll turn this one down to -6. And if we come over here, I can it'll do the same track because A1 audio 1 is selected here. So that it's going to default to that track. So that's pretty cool, actually. That's a very fast way of making clips from different recording sessions match each other in volume. Very quick. It's also a little ham-fisted, but on the other hand, it's better than nothing. Better than going in there with the mouse like I normally do and find this little line. And so, but you'll also notice that this button has a mark written across the front. So let's say we're looking here and we know there's some better B-roll. So you can double tap that and it puts a marker on the timeline. Double tap it again, and it brings up your notes, better B-roll. There you go. We're scrolling through. I think we need a better one for this one too. So double tap mark, double tap it again. Better shot. So if you're going through and just marking something really quick, you can use the speed editor to do that. A little less useful because you need the keyboard to actually write the note, and the default hotkey for this is M on the keyboard. But, it's there. Now, the speed editor also does a few transitions. It's got cut, dissolve, and smooth cut. So let's look at dissolve first, because that's the most common one. And let's say I want to do a quick dissolve between these two shots. It'll put the transition on the closest cut. So if I have it back here, for example, and I hit dissolve, it puts the transition on the closest cut to the back. And that's underneath some B-roll, so that doesn't do any good. I'll do that, move over to the other side, even just a little bit past the middle, and it'll put the dissolve on the next one. Now, that dissolve is ridiculously long. That's a default 1 second dissolve, and that's way too long for these short clips. So if you hold transition duration here, the search dial then becomes a way of changing the length of the dissolve. So let's change it to 7 seconds, or 7 frames, 7 seconds. Nice. I like it. Let's say we want that to be the default, because if I go to the next one and say, okay, put a dissolve on it, it's going to do a second again. So we'll undo that, go back to this one, and then hold or double tap transition duration. Now the default transition is the same length. Now you may have noticed that it only put a transition on the video track. If I want one on the audio track, I can get right up on that space and hit dissolve, and it'll go there as well. Let's say that we don't actually like these dissolve. Well, if you get close to them, you can hit cut, and that'll take it back to being a cut instead of a dissolve. It would be nice if you could just hit dissolve again and to take it away, but nope, we have our own button for cut. So let's look at smooth cut. Smooth cut is kind of a specialized thing. Sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't. This particular 2 clips where I'm looking down and then looking up it might work and it might not. And the reason it might work is because the camera hasn't moved. The background is all the same. The only thing that's changed is me. So let's go ahead and put a smooth cut here and have a look. It can take a moment to kind of think about it. Smooth cut's pretty resource intensive. So it's trying to create new frames to make it look like there is no cut here. And sometimes it works really well, like in a talking head situation like this, where there's nothing distracting going on, it can actually work really well. Even then, sometimes it doesn't. But have a look at this. So on there's a full view button here on the speed editor. So we'll look at the whole thing here. And so there it is. the glasses interacting with the support for the hood are making it really confused. Yeah, that's wonderful, don't you think? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you hit full view again to go back to the regular view, and let's go ahead and turn that back into a cut instead of a smooth cut. Definitely play with smooth cut. There are places where it comes in really handy. This just isn't one of them. The next thing we're going to look at is moving which part of the clip we're looking at. So let's get to our B-roll a little further on. Like here, this clip right here, I have the coffee cup coming from down low and coming up to the mouth. I want to see if there's a better shot than that. So I can hold slip source. And what that does, it grabs a different track. So I'm going to have to grab this one manually. Slip source, now you can see it's grabbed that one. And when I move the search dial, the size of the clip is staying the same, but which part of that video it's showing changes. So I'm going to scroll it forward, and here at the top left-hand corner, you see the beginning of the clip, and the top right-hand corner, you see the end of the clip. So drinking, and then there's a little coffee salute. There we go. So now I have, instead of the coffee cup coming up to the mouth, I have the coffee cup at the mouth and then doing a little silly coffee salute. So brakes on this car and refill the. I like that. So again, that's pressing and holding slip source, and that will change where the which part of the clip you're looking at without changing the in and out points. Slip destination will choose the next track in case you want to change what is happening in that one. This is a little tricky in this case because it's not B-roll, it's a close-up. So I wouldn't want to do that. Go ahead and undo that. But that's why there's slip source, that's what you're on. Slip destination is the next thing. In case you want to change how two pieces of B-roll are interacting. Now, there was another spot here a little later, I think. It looks like this audio track might be a little bit long, and I would like to zoom in on it to see. Unfortunately, the speed editor cannot do that. And that's why my keyboard is usually right below the speed editor. And that's so that I can use the plus and minus here to zoom in and take a look. Okay, no, that's a good cut right there. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we'll zoom back out. The other reason I have this here is, let's say I want to get rid of this close-up. Well, on the speed editor, there's a delete button. Did you see that? Let's play that back in slow motion. All right, so I'm going to undo that. It only has a ripple delete, which is going to delete things in strange ways at times. So here on the keyboard, the delete key is a ripple delete, but the backspace is a normal delete. So I have those controls here, which are not on the speed editor. There's one other thing that we might want to look at. There's a few things in here that are pretty handy. So let's say that we like this, but we want a little bit more of the hand coming out and a little bit less of that tool coming in. The timing of it's actually good, but if you hit roll right here, what it does is it selects the point between those two clips and it lets you move it. So maybe we'll actually go the other way here. There we go. We'll stop it with the hand coming out. And let's say maybe we want to shorten it even more because we're just really wanting to be impatient. Well, if we hit trim out, it will, of course, trim out. But it's leaving all that space, right? Go ahead and undo that. We need to be in trim mode for that to work. So I'm going to just go ahead and select these and then manually go into trim mode, and now trim out will behave the way we want it to, pulling the whole sequence down as we remove frames from this clip. That's another thing that the speed editor doesn't do. It doesn't go in and out of trim mode by itself. It can't zoom, it can't delete without it being a ripple delete, and yeah, there's just a few things. It is, again, it's their entry level controller, so it does a lot of really fancy things, but it doesn't do everything. So thanks for coming along for another look at some of the interesting things the speed editor can do, and I hope to catch you in one of the next ones. Take care.